Okay. All right. Well, Lisa, I thank you for coming out the other day to take a look at my property. Really appreciate it. And I was excited to be able to follow up with you and kind of see what you thought about my house and next steps. So, did you have any
Absolutely.
information that you wanted to share with me?
I do. Thank you so much for inviting me out. It's always so useful to be able to not only see the property, but to get to see you face to face. So I do have some information I want to go over with you. I know that your time is precious. I know you've got a lot going on. So I'm going to try and keep this as concise as possible. What I will say is
Okay.
that all of the information that I'm going to go over with you, I'm also going to email you. I don't want you to
Okay.
feel like this is the only time we get to talk. So, first of all, as I'm going through this, if you have questions, interrupt me. This is not just about me. I want to make sure that you're understanding the information. But most importantly,
Okay.
I want to make sure I want to work with you and I hope we get to. But if you choose to work with somebody else, I still want you to have this information because I want to make sure that you are set up for the best success, the best transaction you can possibly have. So, all that to
Well,
say,
thank you.
as we're going through some of this, first of all, this is my listing presentation. Again, I'll email it over to you later. When we are getting
Okay.
ready to put your house on the market, one of the great things about Best Choice is not only does the home get marketed online through Redfin and Zillow, but we also push it out to all of the different websites. So it doesn't matter if somebody is looking on John L. Scott or EXP website, they're going to see your listing. We are also going to push it
Okay.
out to all of the social media platforms. One of the great things about today is that the bulk of people find their homes online. So we want your home to be showcased online to the very best of our ability. That means putting it on my social media, Twitter, LinkedIn, um, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. It's going to be everywhere. We might not
Yay.
find, right? We might not find your buyer through my Instagram, but maybe through Best Choice Instagram. So the more eyes we can get on your property, the better.
Okay.
When we are getting ready to list your house, some of the things that I noticed, first of all, the house is in great condition. So there's not too much that I feel like you need to worry about in preparation. If we did want to do some improvements to the home, there are some things that add more value. And that's what I really want to be focusing on. I want to be focusing on the things that, first of all, any health and safety items. If your hot water heater is not double strapped, if you don't have smoke detectors or carbon monoxide detectors, we'd want to make sure that those get done. But
Okay.
I want to be focusing on the things that are going to be the best return on your investment. Did you have any thoughts on what you might want to do? Any projects that you had kind of had in the back of your mind?
Well, that's where I wanted you to come in and take a look and kind of maybe help me prioritize what I should do. I figured we probably have to do some painting on the inside of the house, but I wasn't sure if that was the best use of the money that I do have to prep the house for a listing.
I do think that paint is a good option. When we're getting a house ready for sale, we want the buyers to walk in and see a clean slate and something that is easily manageable for them. So we want them to be able to walk in, envision living in the home, envision their stuff in the home, and not feel like there's a litany of things that they have to do as soon as they move in. So I think fresh paint, I think having a home inspection done before we go on the market so that we can see all of the aspects of the house and maybe ticking off some of those items so that the buyers feel confident in the house that they're purchasing.
Okay.
Some other things that I think can really help sell your house is professional photography and staging. I get asked a lot, do I have to stage the house? You don't have to do any of this. But my goal is to is to net you the most amount of money possible. And the way that we do that is by showcasing the house to the very best of its ability. Things like fresh paint, being professionally cleaned before we go on the market would be a really good thing. having the home professionally staged and then having a professional photographer come in is just, it's going to help your house stand out among all of the other houses on the market. With the
Well, that
staging,
was actually going to be one of my questions too.
yeah, yeah,
Do you do you offer staging services to prepare the property for sale? And is that included in your fees?
I do offer professional staging. It is, we can do it in one of two ways. So either you can pay for the staging or I can pay for it and then you can pay me back at closing.
Okay.
On
Okay.
average, we find that houses that are professionally staged sell for 10 to 15% higher than homes that are vacant. So I feel like it's a good use of the money that we have to work with because, again, I want you to net the most amount of money possible. Remind me, are
Right.
you going to still be living in the house or are you going to be moved out?
Well, yeah, we'll get everything out of the house, except for like my bedroom, and it'll just be, it'll just be me, and I will live very lightly, is my
Perfect.
thought. And, yeah, so it'll just be me though. And I work a lot, so I'll be there from time to time, but just my bedroom. And I plan to take everything else out and put it into storage.
Beautiful. So what we'll do is kind of a dual staging, meaning the stager will come in, she will assess what you have in your bedroom, maybe add some pictures, some throw pillows, just a few things here and there to really spruce it up. And then she will stage the rest of the house so that you don't have to worry about it. Okay.
Perfect.
Again, we're not going to go over all of this because I'll be able to send it to you later. But I also want to talk about
Okay.
open houses. I do
Okay.
an open house the first weekend that we're on the market. Again, it's about getting eyes on the property. It's about finding other
Okay.
ways for me to get the house on social media. Open houses, sometimes we have lots of people through, sometimes we don't have very many. The first thing I will say is that is not an indication of the quality of home that you have. Open houses are just kind of hit or miss. But if we can get some neighbors coming in, if we can get home buyers coming in, maybe it might not be the right house for the neighbor, but maybe they know that their cousin is looking in the area. And so it's getting that word of mouth out to as many people as we possibly can.
Okay.
Okay. What other questions do you have for me right now before I go into the next part?
So I was also wondering, so you said open houses. How do you or your how do you use social media to market the property?
Great question. So not only will I be putting up notifications that I'm going to be doing an open house, but I also love to do videos when we're in the open house. Sometimes they're just like little quick boomerangs showing people wandering the house. Sometimes it's a quick video showcasing something specific, like your fireplace is really beautiful, something to get people engaged and to get them excited about the home. Not only will it be on my social media, but I also will tag it through Best Choice Realty, my brokerage, because I want to try and get them to be posting and reposting as much as I can.
Oh, okay. Okay. Wonderful.
So let's talk about pricing. Oh, did you have another question?
Well, I was gonna ask too, since I will still be there and we'll move most of the stuff to storage, how do you ensure the security of my home while we're selling? Especially with other buyers coming in. It'll have this fancy staging in the house. And how do you ensure the security?
That is such a good question. And honestly, one that not very many people think about. So, in order for an agent to have access to the home, they have to go through, obviously, they have to be licensed. And when they're licensed, they do get fingerprinted and they go through a background check. Only licensed agents will have access to the house key. It'll be in a Supra lockbox on your front door. All agents are required to stay with their buyers for the entirety of the time that they're in the home. That being said, making sure that you pack up anything valuable or sentimental will be really important. I would hate for you to have a necklace or something that is easily put in somebody's pocket. I'd hate to have that walk away. Um,
Okay.
I think that most of the time, because the home is going to be staged, there's not really much that people would want to steal. But it's more
Okay.
important that we have that agent with them at all times. Even during an open house, I would never leave a potential buyer in the home unattended. Without being weird, I do try to follow them through the house too and make sure that I'm, asking questions, answering anything that they might have, but also it's so that I can keep eyes on them while they're in your property.
Okay. That's good. Thank you.
So let's talk about other homes that are on the market in your area. I did go through and I created a CMA. So that is a comparative market analysis of other homes that are in the market that are similar to yours. Um, the best ones are the ones that are close in proximity, similar bedroom, bathroom, square footage, age of the home, things like that, and homes that have sold recently. If they sold 6 months ago, it's not the same market as it is now. So I'm going to send you this
Interesting.
entire CMA. Obviously, I'm not going to go through all of it right now, but what I do want you to pay attention to is in the sold listings, minus this one here, they're all at that
Mm-hmm.
same similar price point. So based on that, I
Oh,
do feel like we would be listing somewhere in like the 350 to $400,000 range. We will
okay.
make that determination right before we go live because we'll see if other homes have come on the market. But I love being able to utilize homes that have sold recently, not only for us to figure out what kind of pricing strategy we should use, but also to be able to look at all of their pictures. Let me get down in here so we can see all of these pictures of different homes. This one's vacant, didn't sell for as much as those that are staged, right? But we can then utilize
Mm.
that to go, what can we do to make your place stand out above all of the rest that have been on the market? If we, let's go over here really quick. So I pulled up some seller net proceeds. So net proceeds are how much you're going to walk away with after you pay the commission, after you pay all of your taxes and closing costs, and after you pay off the remainder balance of your mortgage. So I pulled three different price points so that you could see what that might look like. If we sold it at
Okay.
350, which is kind of the low end of where I think we would be, you would be walking away with roughly $167,000. Okay.
Okay.
And again, that's after you pay off your mortgage, after you pay off all of your closing costs, and after we do the commission, which we'll talk about in a second. If you did 375, you would walk away with 190,000. And if we sold it
Wow.
at 400, which is kind of the top end of where I think we'll be at, you would walk away with 213,000.
Wow. Okay.
Okay. So you can see there is quite a range there. And again, we'll determine that price right before we go on the market.
Okay. Okay. Wonderful. While I
So
was looking at the fee, I had a question in reference to the fees. And so I saw that there was the 3% uh, fee on um, the sheet that you just showed.
net
And
proceeds,
so
yeah.
that buyer's agent fee, I've heard that I don't have to pay a buyer's agent fee. Is that true?
Yes,
And
you
how
don't.
and would it affect if I don't pay? I mean, how would it affect the listing if I don't pay?
Great. I love that we're talking about it. I believe that transparency is super important, and especially because it has been in the news so much lately. You've never been required to pay a buyer's agent fee.
Okay.
Typically, what happens is you and I agree to work together. You and I set a commission percentage, standard is 6%, and then I share that with the buyer's agent at the end of the transaction. Here, I also am a buyer's agent, so I get to see both sides of the transaction.
Okay.
Most
Okay.
buyers don't have the money to pay their down payment, plus their closing costs, plus their commission. So
Okay.
let's say me as a buyer's agent, I am showing my clients two different houses, both check the majority of their boxes. One is offering 1 or 2% to the buyer's agent, and one is offering 3%. I would disclose that to my buyers ahead of time and say, if you choose this, let's say 1% buyer's agent commission home, if you decide this is the right home for you, that's great. I would then look to you, buyer, to supplement the balance of my commission. The majority of buyers are not even going to want to see that house because they don't have the funds available to be able to pay me a livable wage on top of the commission,
Oh,
right? So,
I see. Okay.
yeah, by not offering a reasonable commission to a buyer's agent, you're cutting your buyer pool dramatically.
Okay.
The best way for us to net you the most amount of money possible is to have as many buyers seeing the house and writing offers and having them bid the house up, right? So by cutting your buyer's agent commission, you're cutting your buyer pool at least in half. And it's not like it's coming out of your bank account. Yes, it is coming out of your net proceeds, but you are not having to save up the money to be able to pay that buyer's agent commission. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
And
Yes. Okay.
the goal, like I said, the goal is to get the buyers to bid up your home. So if by having four buyers offering on the home, and let's say we go 10,000 above list price, that is going to net you more money than if we only had maybe one buyer who comes at list price, but you're only, you're saving $3,000 on commission, right? I'd rather think long term, what's going to get you the most amount of money at the end.
Okay. That's fair. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions that you have from me?
Um, I think, well, we talked about that we will determine the price after, um, right before we go live, we'll determine what we'll list it for. I guess once we paint and do some of the items. We also talked about the repairs and fixes. You suggested we have a home inspection, so I will prepare for that, get the paint ready. Um, and you did say that open houses, you'll have at least one open house is part of your process.
Yes.
Okay, so in all honesty, I don't know that I have a ton of other questions. My only other question is one last thing. Because we're not in a huge hurry, I wanted your advice and when you think would be the best time. I know we're getting into the holidays right now. Do you think it's okay to list it now based on what you've discovered, or should I wait? Because I'm not in a huge hurry and I do want to get the top dollar. What do you recommend there?
Sure. So, the saying, all ships rise and fall with the sea, right? In the
Yeah,
wintertime, there are far fewer homes for sale, which means there's less competition for you if we were to list right now, but there's also fewer buyers out there. In the springtime, which in real estate starts in February, I don't know why, but in springtime, there are far more buyers out shopping, but there's also a lot more homes. So you have more competition, more houses that you're competing against. So my
makes
rule of
sense.
thumb is list it when you're ready. I also know that you have a mortgage, and I know that you want to be able to get moved into your next place. So I would say, let's get the home ready and let's get it on the market as soon as possible. That being said, the week of Thanksgiving, let's not try and list the house that week. The week of Christmas or New Year's, let's not list it that week, right? But
Got it. Okay.
say, let's not wait for spring unless you really need to. If the repairs are more costly than what we had anticipated and you need to save up so that we can get those repairs completed, terrific. Spring will be just fine. But I'd rather get you out of this mortgage and into the home that you want to be in sooner rather than later.
That's wonderful. Okay. Well, then the only other question I have is what is our next steps?
Yay. Well, the next step is you and I decide to work together. I hope we get to work together.
Yes.
There are some there are some disclosures I would need to send to you. Things like lead-based paint is bad. Mold in your home, bad. Things like what is my fiduciary responsibility to you as your agent? And then
Okay.
let me go this way. Okay, can you see this okay?
I can. Yes.
Great. So this is the exclusive sale and listing agreement. This is the form that we would both have to sign in order for me to be able to start working for you. In this, we will
Okay.
specify me as your agent. We would specify the address of the property, as well as when we think we're going to go on the market. That can
Okay.
change. If we think that we're going to go on the market November 20th, and we're about a week before that, and we go, oh, we're just not ready, it is okay for us to modify that timeline. This is just our goal of when we're going to go on the market.
Okay.
We will also specify what the compensation is going to be, the full compensation that would come from you, and then what of that we're going to be splitting with the buyer's agent. Once we get
Okay.
all of this signed and ready to go, I get to start working for you and we get to start moving forward. I have contractors, I have inspectors, I even have painters if you don't want to do the work yourself. And we can discuss, is it something that you're going to pay for upfront, or is it something that I will pay for and then be paid back? I want this to be as stress-free as possible for you. I know that you're working. I know you have a life. And so whatever I can do to ease this for you, that's my goal.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Well, I'm excited. Let's go ahead and get the paperwork sent over, and I should probably expect that by way of e-sign. Would you email
Yes.
it to me? And okay. Okay.
Yep, it'll be a
Wonderful.
program
And I'm
called
excited. So, yeah. Okay.
Wonderful. I am so excited to get to work for you,
Well,
and we are going to get this thing sold.
all right. Well, thank you so much, Lisa. Thank you for your time. Thank you for coming out to see my house. Hate to say it, but I was just as nervous, probably more nervous than you were when you came out to see what you had to say about my house. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
You are so welcome. I'll be in touch, and remember, you can call or text me anytime.
Okay. All right.
All right, thank you.